This conversation tonight is really focused on three main tools with Google, predominantly Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and then Google Page Speed Insights. And the reason that I focus on those is because they offer a lot of value for the individuals, and many businesses just completely overlook it. In fact, many just don't even realize that these tools are available. And so even understanding these, I think, are helpful from the compliance perspective, because it's going to allow you to understand who's interacting with your website a lot better, and then also how you're positioned to the public. So if you guys have a poor ranking or you're not getting traffic that you want, this is going to help you out a ton. So why Google? Well, we've seen that this year they're going to likely make only about $135 billion through their Google Ads revenue. So it's a huge source of income for them, and it's largely from their search advertising that makes all the money. And so what we want to do is we want to capture that audience that they've created for us. And Google is great at marketing because they build tools that are then and as I say that, my phone goes off. It just recognizes me saying that. A little creepy. But they're so good at giving free tools that's their value add for businesses. That's how they get new customers, is just to use Google in order to attract eyeballs. Once they get those eyeballs, then what they do is they'll place them to where they want to go, the business that's going to have the best match. And so that's why they've been so successful. But it's surprising that many businesses just don't understand the back end of their website and how to leverage these platforms. So what we'll do is we'll talk about Google Search Console. This is the hub of your business and the relationship with Google. This is going to share with you all the relevant information, the relevant pages, what have you, with Google, and it's going to help you to rank. We'll also talk about Google Analytics. This is a platform that allows you to see what's going on with the interaction with your website. So who's interacting, which pages are they going to, which sources are they coming from? Are they coming from Facebook or Instagram or some other source? And how long are they staying on those pages? This is really helpful for you if you are in charge of revenue or you have any influence over the marketing budget. This is going to be a huge benefit to you. And then finally, we'll talk about your page speed. Your page speed is so important right now because of the significance of mobile, right? Google understands that mobile is really where people are spending the majority of their time, and that's because everybody has a cell phone and they're looking at it for everything, especially for purchasing decisions. And so you want to use this tool in order to understand how your page loads and how quick it is, because that's going to have a huge influence on how you rank within Google. Now, each of these three tools is completely free. Each of them offers a unique insight. Now that I know that you're on the compliance end, I am going to keep coming back to that so that you understand the advantage to that. And then I want to make sure that you have actionable information that you can leave here with. So the goal of this week is really just to lay a foundation around these tools. And then next week, what I'd like to do is just share how to advertise, mostly with setting up your Google Ads account, making sure that your analytics data is feeding into your Google Ads. There's just so much value in understanding who's coming to your website. And what Google will do if your ads account is connected is they'll tell you what's called a lookalike audience, which are folks that are within 1% of similarity to the people who are visiting your website. So a lot of value there. And then what I'll show you is a tool that you can use to actually find out who's advertising and for your clients, and then what their ads look like, how much they're paying. This is kind of ninja stuff that'll help you with understanding your audience and your competitive landscape a little bit better. And I'm doing all this really right now because we are. I'm a 13-year financial advisor. I'm a certified financial planner. My licenses are held with Strategic Wealth Partners. My office is in Columbia, Maryland. But since November of last year, I've been not recruiting new clients, just maintaining the book that I have, and focused on developing this software called Pocket Plan. What Pocket Plan is a financial service that will connect you with a platform that your advisors could use in order to build trust with clients. So it's a digital onboarding tool where your clients are going to input their information, their financial accounts, and connect that information directly to Pocket Plan. And then in return, they get a balance sheet, a budget, and a retirement projection. And what's so great is that your advisors now can have their clients or their prospects schedule directly with their calendar from their phone or from their desktop. So now when that person comes in, they have they've given you all of their contact information, all the relevant information, but they also have familiarity with what a retirement plan is, and they're more in the mindset of solutions. So they're more qualified to sit down with you. After doing this for so long, I've just seen so many people come in and they're like, they don't know what to expect. They don't trust me. There's just this long sales cycle that takes place. And I wanted to lead with value, just like I'm doing in this presentation, lead with value, and then to help people make a decision once they're comfortable. So that's the hidden agenda that I have is, I want to share different marketing tactics so that you can get familiar with who I am to see what the benefit is. So at any point, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. I am monitoring that. I have that open here in a second screen, and we will take a look at that. But with that out of the way, let's take a look quickly at Google Search Console. Google Search Console is the hub for all of your ranking information with Google. And so this is where Google has a insight into your website itself. So it tells you how your website is performing, who is coming to look at your website, which links are going out, what information they have. It's a great tool for you to be using, and it's a starting point for getting found on Google. Because if you don't have this set up, then it's unlikely that you're going to have the other pieces set up. And I laugh because, I'm kind of laughing because so many people just don't understand that this is a tool that they need to be using. And so often what happens is that it's not completely filled out, it's not completely connected to the to all the different tools that are available. And one thing that's pretty unique about Google is that they have all these free tools that are out there, but if you don't connect them, then they don't talk to one another. And this is it's kind of a shortfall to some degree because they don't necessarily tell you that up front, but it is a competitive advantage that you can use, if you're knowledgeable about it. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to go and it's search.google.com. If you just put in that, it's not going to come up. So what I do is I do Search Console, and then you'll be able to just get into Google right here. Now, once you're inside of Search Console, you're going to need to navigate to the website that you have access to using this profile. So you see that I have a bunch of different profiles set up here. And so what you'd want to do is choose the profile that is connected to the website that you're looking for. Once you have connected that, you can either navigate up here and find the property that you're looking for, or you can add a property. When you add a property, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to type in the website address, and then you're going to have to verify that property. So you can tell that, I'm already auto verified here. I've already added the analytics code that they give me. But basically what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take a little snippet of code and add it into your hosting records. Those are your DNS records. And Google is going to look for that code in order to find out if you actually own that website. So once you have verified that you own that domain, then they're going to give you access to all the tools that they have. That's a really simple step to do, but once you do it, now you can start to get insight about what's going on into your website. And so here you're going to be able to see really top level information. It's not in depth to what's going on, but it does give you a quick overview of what you are, what's going well, what you need help with. You have the ability to search here for different filters. So if you only want to look at mobile, you only want to look for certain terms, then you can do that. And when you tie your analytics code into this, then you're going to get more relevant information. So this is like a high level. We're just looking at things on a very, what I would call a meta basis, very high up. But then when you tie in analytics, now you can customize what information is given to Google. And what's so helpful about this is you can start to build that client path for people who are visiting your website. So for instance, what you may find is that people go from looking at your homepage to looking at your About Us page to looking at the schedule page. There might be a video on the schedule page, and Google Analytics will know if you are clicking that video, how long you're watching, where do you go afterwards. So again, from the compliance angle, it's really helpful there to get that. You can also look at different URLs, specific URLs, to see how they're doing. So the index is how Google is actually looking at all of your website. And so what you can do is say, you can effectively ask Google, like, hey, how is my website page looking to you? And what it'll do is it'll go in and it'll tell you, we've crawled it. That means that we sent a bot to check it out. If it hasn't been crawled, then what you want to do is just ask them to crawl it for you. And then that'll ensure that you're actually getting the page viewed by Google, and then it'll tell you, if it's mobile friendly or not. And for each of these, you can dig in a little bit further, so they can tell you, what sitemap it's tied to, if it's being referred from a separate page, when it was last crawled, things like that. So really good information for you to understand, how healthy your website is. With the index itself, you're going to know about any errors, and this is huge for you having a healthy website. One of the often overlooked areas of ranking a website is just having a healthy website in itself. And what I mean by that is that a page that has the correct links that can be pulled up, that doesn't have any errors or any warnings that are coming up. And because Google changes their index so frequently, it's very easy to have errors. So having a report that comes out on a recurring basis, once a month or once a quarter, it just allows you to see kind of what's going on. At any point, they could give you an update as to what needs some attention, and you can address that. So if you have somebody who's taking care of your website, these are part of the these are part of the areas that they should be focused on. Is looking at the health of the site, making sure that there are no errors, making sure that the site is actually indexed and that it's discoverable from Google's standpoint. You're also going to be able to get some different vital information. I'm going to share with you. You notice Page Speed Insights is right here. We're going to visit that here in a minute, and you'll understand a little bit more. You can also include your logo. Google does have the ability to search based on images, so you can look at that. This is a great area for just understanding if you have any security issues. One of the things that I've found just over my journey over the past 12 months is that not enough folks in the industry understand the security aspect when it comes to their website. And here in the Baltimore area, you may remember last year there was a hospital website that was actually hacked and held for ransom because of some security issues. They had an old Windows operating system that just wasn't up to date. And so keeping up to speed with known issues is such a big opportunity for you to keep your business safe and to make sure that your clients, if they're signing in there, they're not subject to any risk that would tie back to you. The other thing that you can do here is you can look at your links. This is going to be very important for understanding, where your links are going, making sure that there's not anything fishy going on, and then also what text you're showing up for. Any linking text is going to be the term that people are looking for. So if you have, retirement planner Columbia, 401k rollover Columbia, 401k rollover Fulton, it's more likely that those are going to be terms that you're going to show up for. If you don't have these terms identified, then it's unlikely that you're actually going to show up for them. And so there's an opportunity for you when you're producing content to make sure that you are linking with those terms. So, you would, with your content that you're putting out there, if you put it out on social media, you might link back to a specific page. That specific page would have anchor text that is relevant to a search term that your clients would be looking for. So a lot of good information, can be discovered when you link the right text here. Your settings are just going to, verify your ownership. You're also going to be able to control, who has access to your website and to this tool. It's really easy to add a user here. What you would do is just give them an email address, and then you can either give them full or restricted permission. And I would always just, say give them restricted permission just to get started. So with that, let's jump real quick into Google Analytics. This is another tool that you have access to completely for free from Google, and it is going to be super helpful for you if you are doing any marketing or any advertising. As we know now with COVID, so many businesses are transitioning online. And the transition online is a little intimidating because we just don't know, what to expect. In fact, most of us don't know how to even measure, the progress and if we're doing things right. And so Google Analytics can answer a lot of those questions for us by giving us insight into what's going on behind the scenes. So in order to install Google Analytics, you just have to take a little snippet of code and you want to put it on every page on your website. So you can get that by going down here to admin. And again, I think that I showed this, but in case I didn't, you want to go to analytics.google.com. And Teresa, if you're still with me, the same opportunity as with Facebook is you would go to analytics, you can see mine, analytics.facebook.com. And I would absolutely have both codes running at the same time because Facebook has certain information and Google has certain information, and both of them will allow you to build lists of who's visiting your website, and both of them have something called lookalike audiences that will allow you to advertise to people who are similar to your existing client list. Excuse me. So, if you are, if you're doing a seminar or you're doing a free webinar, whatever the case may be, you can upload your client list into into these different tools, and then to have Google go out and search for those people. So what you notice here is, I'll just give you an idea. Here's my audience. We can get a sense as to, how things have been going over the past, what is this? This is just the past week. So the number of users, how many new users, what kind of sessions we have, where they're coming from. And then we can also get an idea of who they are on, more demographic basis. If we have any information about their age or about their gender, then that will show up here. And then we can also get insight into where they're coming from. And I love looking at this, especially if you have an advisor who is on TV or who is doing some marketing on a national basis. Really helpful to understand, where people are coming from, where they're logging in, what have you. Once they're on the site itself, what we can see is how they're engaging with the site. So you notice here, like my page views, 25 sessions, they've been less than 10 seconds. So they're not very well qualified individuals who are coming in. But we do have some folks who are more qualified, and those folks are sticking around for a lot longer. We can also get an insight into, are we getting more people on Chrome, or are they using Firefox or Edge, Safari? Again, helpful for your advertising, because now what you're going to be able to do is say, I only want to serve my audience ads on this browser. Or I notice that people who are just checking out my website typically come from Chrome, but people who schedule appointments with me actually come from Safari. So you can get an idea of that there. And then you can also, in real time, see, how many people are coming in. I just know that we don't have real time people, actually coming in. But what you'll notice here is acquisition just will show me, the different channels of people. If they're coming directly to my website from searching directly for Pocket Plan or Pocket Planner, if they're coming from social, where are they coming from? If I'm getting results from search, where's that coming from? And then if I'm getting referring sites, then I understand that. And this is really great for you doing the marketing and the advertising, because again, you can say this month we spent $1,000 on Facebook, and that advertising yielded us these results. And there's no longer mystery around, where do these people come from? What do they do? Instead, you can actually see it here. And what's great is that you can understand the value of that person. How long did they stay? What have you? So Google Analytics will actually tell you, here's where they're coming from. They're coming from, these referring sites. If you're running ads, then you can tie those directly into this as well, so that you can see, which campaigns are yielding you results, which, what are the best performing ads, what have you. I actually need to link this one, so I'm glad I did that. I'm just writing a note here to link my analytics and my AdWords. And then you can see, this would tell you, if you had different search terms that where your ads were showing up, you would see that. But let's build on what we were talking about before with Search Console. So what we want to do is we want to, add in the ability to link this. So you're just going to go here, you're going to go to save, and now you're going to connect this. You notice a little success up here. Let me go back here to acquisition, Search Console. So now any of the landing pages that show up, it's going to take a little bit of time, but any of the landing pages that people show up on, that's going to be tied in here. And, unfortunately, because everything's not out of the box connected, it takes some time to connect everything and for all the data to feed through. But the more data that you put into this thing, the better results you're going to get, and the more valuable that it'll become. I do want to show you, there's some social information that you can get. I won't want to go through all these, but I do want to show you this one section here, which is called conversions. This is really helpful for understanding what the journey is for people who are coming into your website. So if they're coming in through social media, but they only hit the advertised link, then what you want to do is figure out a way to get them to take the next step. So it might be to fire a trigger on your web page where if somebody comes from Facebook and they stay on the page for over 60 seconds, then I want to add them to a list to advertise for my next event. And there's nothing that would stop you from doing that. It's completely value driven, in that if you're already doing direct mail, it's very similar to that. Is that you have to go out, buy a list, and then send an ad to that person or an invitation. Exact same concept here, except you're going to be able to do it with Google. And in fact, it's a little bit more valuable for you and for them because you know what these folks are looking for. You know what they're most interested in. And from that standpoint, you can customize or tailor your message directly to them. So this is one of my scheduling pages. You can look at this on a different time range if you wanted. I just set this up, I think, last week, so it's not, we haven't been feeding anybody through this. But effectively, what I want them to do is to come into the landing page itself, learn a little bit more about who we are. Then I invite them to look at the a primer video, which is just a introduction to who we are. And then we give them a case study where we say, hey, here's how we help out businesses. So they go through there, and if they've watched that video through the entirety, it's only 20 minutes, but if they watch that, then they're given a link to book a meeting with me. And so they can schedule with me. If they schedule, then I ask them to tell me a little bit more about your business. And if they finish that up, then they hit a thank you page. And so it's a little drawn out, but you can tell that what we're able to do is get a better sense of who's coming in and where people are falling off. If your firm was anything like mine, what happened was we would send out 10,000 pieces of direct mail to get about 10 to 20 couples into a classroom. Of those 10 to 20 couples who came to our event, somewhere around 6 would come in and meet with me. Of those 6 who met with me, about 3 of them would become new clients. So that entire process from when we sent out the mail to when the assets came over could take as long as 6 months. And it was very challenging to completely fill up that pipeline because you had to send out so much mail that cost $10,000 to $20,000 each time. And you have to wait this long period of time, this 6 month, 3 to 6 months before you close that business. And so focusing on digital allows you to now run this process over and over again. There is no such thing as, a hard date anymore for running an event. Instead, what you can do is just have a case study video explaining how you help people out and let them watch that on their terms. And what's so helpful is with Google Analytics, you can understand where people are falling off. So you know where to show them information to get back on. In terms of, hey, you fell off when I was talking about Social Security. Is it because you're not interested in Social Security, or is it because you had something else come up? Well, what you would do is you would show them an ad, in order to figure that out. And if they click, now you're responding based on their actual behavior. So this is really, really helpful for you and very beneficial for your consumers because now you're tailoring your messaging directly to them. So you're speaking to them more so on what's relevant to them and more meaningful, and that just helps to get the folks who are going to be the best clients for you. So you can see that. Now, you can also add in different channels. So if you're running different ad campaigns on Google, on YouTube, on Facebook, or direct mail, you can actually track those using Google Analytics. And what's great is that you can understand, where these guys are coming from and how they're performing. You might find that you get a lot more leads from Facebook, but those people turn into fewer appointments or fewer clients. Or you might find something like your direct mail actually brings in the most amount of assets. It just takes the longest to close. So your multi-channel funnels here are really great for understanding, the timing differences, understanding how long it takes to get to different points in the path, and then you can benchmark it and you can compare them to one another. Again, what's so constructive about having this information in Google Analytics is that when you do this, you're going to feed Google enough information that they will be able to tell who is a great customer for you and what they're worth to your business. So you're literally telling them, an appointment is worth $150 per person, or I'm willing to pay up to $2,000 per client. And that information is great for Google because then they can help you with advertising to the right people. So it's a really, really good tool for you in order to, get some great value. And I think that this is going to be the standard going forward, is that, people are really going to want a tailored message to their situation because, the likes of Vanguard, Schwab, Facet Wealth, if you know them, like they're going to be focused on running multiple ad campaigns that are more niche oriented. So this ad campaign talks to divorcees. This ad campaign talks to widows. This ad campaign talks to business owners. This ad campaign talks to federal employees. And each of those campaigns might just have a different ad or a different call to action, but all of them lead the same way, right? All of them lead to the same process of you book an appointment, you talk to us about a financial plan, you buy a plan, you get XYZ product, and we put you in a portfolio. So that is going to be a little bit more the standard. And with that, what we need to do as business owners is make sure that we're ahead of the curve and that we are actually doing ourselves and our clients the best service with doing this. So now you've learned about Google Search Console and why that's so helpful for showing up in the Google search rankings. You've learned how to track the performance of people on your website. You've also learned about how to do some advertising and understand the relevance of the folks who are visiting your website and the paths they're taking. Now what I want you to do is share with you how to make a better website in Google's eyes. And so what we're going to do is use this tool called Google Page Speed Insights. And Google Page Speed Insights is a tool that you can use that will allow you to track the performance of your website. All you have to do is enter in a URL up here, and what Google will do is they will actually go in here and they will crawl your website. And so they'll show you exactly what it looks like on mobile or what it looks like on desktop. So they give you a score anywhere from 0 to 100, and that score is comprised of these different metrics. So they're looking at how long does it take for a web page to load, how fast is that across different devices, what is the load hierarchy, so do you load the images first or do you load the videos? And you can actually see that. It might be a little hard. Hold on a second. You can see down here, that they have these images that show up that will give you kind of a by the millisecond look at what your page looks like so that you have an opportunity there to improve. So what's great about this is that if we looked at our analytics and we said, okay, how are we getting people, right? So we get an overview of how we're getting people. And then what we can do is we can figure out if they're coming in from different devices. Then what we can do is then go back to this and say, okay, where do I need to focus? We've focused really on the desktop because that's where the majority of people who are visiting our site are coming from. But even so, what we see is that we do have opportunity to improve. And so this is one of the areas, for instance, time to be interactive. And so what we could do is, if we wanted to speed up our site, here's how we would do it. We're using a WordPress website, and so we would need to get rid of some of these different things, and they would speed it up. So really, really helpful for looking at how you're performing. Google is focused on that mobile first experience. You can tell on mobile, our site just isn't that good. It has a lot of way to improve here, and it's really around the these elements here, which are the same thing, slowing down our site. So I do this about once a week, and we fix it, and then I add or I change something, and we drop back down. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share this with our developers so that they can go in now and fix this. And what they'll do is they'll adjust things a little bit, and we'll see our score improve. But I love this tool, A, because it's free, B, because it gives you kind of a playbook for what you need to do in order to speed up your site. And then finally, you get to see kind of where things are going well and where they need improvement so that you have the ability to prioritize. So with that, that's really what we have outlined, the extent of what we've outlined for this evening to help get found on Google is to look at your Google Search Console to help you get indexed and to get found. Next is to understand the value of the traffic that you're getting, and then finally is to serve up a relevant experience for your users. So with that, I'm just going to be quiet for a minute, and I want to check here in YouTube to see if there's any questions that you might have. So I'll switch up here and just see if you have any questions. Let me know. I didn't go into specifics about content generation, compliant content generation, but I would definitely send you some resources on that, Teresa, if you're still around, in order to help you out with that. But if you have any questions, let me know. Just send them in the chat, and I'll keep this open. And if not, what I'll do is I'll drop off here and just give you some more information for next week. All right. Well, I appreciate you being on the on this meetup and working with me here. And I hope that you got a lot of great information from this. If you have any questions, then make sure that you reach out to me. You can reach me on my email. I'm going to drop it in the chat here. It's patron@pocketplanner.io. But if you have any questions about, you need help setting this up, let me know. I'm happy to walk you through any of this. For next week, what we'll do is we'll dig into Google AdWords. We'll also look at a YouTube channel in order to show you, how to set that up and to get your analytics, your channel information, feeding into your Google Analytics. And then I also want to share with you a tool that will help you look at your competitors and see their ads and understand, who they're advertising to, how much they're spending per ad, what their ads say, and where their ads go. Great resource for you if you are going to be advertising at all. You definitely want to use this because it's going to be something that can be a game changer for you getting good results. So thank you for watching this, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.